I've been following this story for nearly a year, and I'm happy to say that it's finally come to a conclusion. But it's devastating that it even happened at all, and there is a lot of questions that still remain as to why and how this could possibly have happened. On the 6th of June 2020, two sisters were celebrating one of their birthdays in a park in northwest London. Bibaa Henry had just turned 46 and Nicole Smallman, her younger sister, 27, along with several other friends, were celebrating this event. But due to the recent lockdown situation in the UK and the pandemic, people were not allowed to gather inside their homes. So like many people at this time of year, they gathered in a park or an open place to have a few drinks and to celebrate. Little did they know that Danyal Hussein was planning to kill any woman that he come in contact with that evening. And in a devastating case of chance, he crossed paths with the two sisters. I've done 4 videos on this story, and I was trying to raise awareness due to the slow response from the media and also the police as well. But the mother of the sisters has said that she's happy with how the police have dealt with the rest of the case. In court, it was heard that Danyal Hussein had created a handwritten plan, and it was signed in his own blood. In this, he pledged he would murder 6 women every 6 months. And in return for doing this, he believed he would get a financial reward. Bibaa and Nicole had never met Danyal in their life, and they had done nothing to get his attention except from being there. The police believed that he must have observed them for a considerable amount of time, potentially 4 to 5 hours. Hussein is only 19 years old, and he was living with his father at the time, and has been found guilty today by a unanimous jury following a 4-week trial at the Old Bailey for the murders of 46-year-old Bibaa and 27-year-old Nicole. And he also was convicted of possession of an offensive weapon, and he will be sentenced at the same court on September the 22nd. The investigating officer says that Hussein was arrogant and egotistical, and from the offset he denied any culpability for what he had done. By not going guilty, he forced the family to go through a trial and have to listen to the trauma of what their loved ones had to go through. He was seen on CCTV going into his father's house after the murder, walking down a street and using his bank card, but he maintained that he was simply not him, even though his DNA was found at the crime scene. On the evening of Friday the 5th of June, Bibaa was celebrating her birthday in Fryent Country Park in Wembley. The location within the park they chose was a well-known spot for good views across London. CCTV footage showed Bibaa and Nicole at around 7:30 in Kingsbury Co-Op buying some food and drinks for the party. They appeared to be in good spirits, and Nicole was having a chat with a man next to her at the checkout. From there, they made their way to the park, and CCTV again showed them entering the Slough Lane entrance just before 20 to 8 in the evening. Once inside, they headed to the hill and set up camp. The weather was good, and over the course of the evening, more people arrived, and they ate and drank and played cards and listened to music. As darkness fell, the guests started to leave one by one, and by midnight, the two sisters were alone. They were keen to continue the celebrations after having a few drinks, and they played music and danced with lights. At around 1 a.m. in the morning, Nicole sent a text message to her boyfriend saying that she was dancing in a field. This was the last time that he would hear from her. The pair had set up Bibaa's phone to take a series of photographs on a timed device, and it recorded 150 images of them dancing and having fun moments before their death. The last image was caught at 1:15 in the morning, and it was now Saturday the 6th of June. Bibaa and Nicole could be seen looking to their left as if they was distracted by something, and the police believed their attention was drawn to the killer's arrival. Hussein's night had started at 7:45, and he was leaving his family address in Old Kenton Lane, Kingsbury, that was only minutes away from Fryent Country Park. He was wearing blue medical gloves and a mask as well, and because it was the pandemic, this would not have been unusual. He was also carrying a rucksack, and he walked to a nearby bus stop where he took the number 204 bus to Edgware Road. He went inside a Morrison's and he bought some alcohol and collected an Amazon delivery of a balaclava and 2 folding shovels contained within a pouch, and all of the items were put inside a rucksack. He then made his way to Fryent Country Park, and he went down the Larkspur Close entrance and arrived at 20 to 9, 2 hours after the girls did. The birthday party would have been a 5-minute walk from where he had entered, and there was no CCTV coverage within the park, but Hussein remained there for 4 hours. They don't know what he was doing for that time, but it's believed that he was stalking them and waiting to see if anybody had left. The exact circumstances of the murder are unclear because nobody was there except Danyal, Nicole and Bibaa. But it was believed that Bibaa was killed first and she was taken by surprise by Hussein and she was quickly overpowered and stabbed 8 times. The attack on Nicole was frenzied and relentless, resulting in her suffering 28 stab wounds. In addition, she suffered a number of cuts to her arms, hands and legs, suggesting that she put up a significant and incredibly brave fight. Following the murder, it is believed that Hussein dragged their bodies up to 75 meters to a wooded area where he was attempting to cover them up. He then attempted to clean up the scene as well, and he placed a number of items from the party into rubbish bags and concealed them in the wooded area that was nearby. He threw the victims' phones into a pond that was in the park as well. CCTV showed the moment that he left the park at 4:10 in the morning, which was the same way that it came. Moments later, he was seen returning to his home, but he was not wearing any trousers, and his jacket was tied around his waist. His right hand was also tucked inside his waistband as well, and neither the jacket or the missing trousers were ever found by the police. Bibaa and Nicole were reported missing on Saturday, the 6th of June, by friends and family when they failed to return home after the party. At around lunchtime on Sunday, the 7th of June, some of those closest to the sisters went to the park to try to look for them. They found their glasses nearby, belonging to both Bibaa and Nicole, and they also found a knife. Whilst on the phone to the police, seeking advice about what to do next, the bodies were discovered nearby. Police and paramedics swiftly attended to the scene, and the park was cordoned off. A murder investigation was launched, and DCI Harding, who was leading the investigation, said that the scene posed a significant issue, and the crime scene examiners spent 3 weeks conducting searches. Police were directed to a kitchen knife that was found by friends who had been searching the park before the initial investigation. Due to the heavy rainfall, the upper side of the knife was clean. However, the underside of the knife was heavily stained with blood. The blood would later be a match to Hussein, and a spot of Nicole's DNA was also there as well. Officers found bottles from the party that Hussein had discarded and tried to hide. They were also stained with blood as well, and this subsequently identified him as being at the scene. His blood was found on leaves and branches near to where the bodies were found, and also between the site and the pond. 2 latex gloves were also found nearby, and one was heavily stained with blood that was identified as Hussein's. On Saturday the 6th of June, a member of the public who was doing a clean-up of the park found rubbish bags that were left by Hussein. They were taken to a rubbish site but recovered by police, and these bags contained 2 blankets and also cushions as well. These were the cushions Nicole and Bibaa had been seen with in one of their last pictures. The cushion was heavily stained with blood, and it was identified also as Hussein's. Police had to go through 120 tons of rubbish in order to find that evidence. Analysis of Bibaa's mobile phone indicated that Hussein had repeatedly tried to access the phone as well. It had been turned on and off 130 times between 1:30 in the morning and 4:10. It's believed by the officers that Hussein was concerned his image had been captured on the phone and he was attempting to unlock it to delete any evidence that was present. At 4:10, the handset was turned off for the last time, and this is likely when he threw it into the pond that was inside the park also. Detectives went through hours of CCTV and also dashcam footage provided by many people that lived in the area. Hundreds of statements were taken in the initial days and weeks following the murders, and they were very confident that the killer had injured his hand. Officers made a public plea to anybody that had seen somebody with a significant hand wound in the Kingsbury area, and the blood they found at the scene was not a direct link to Hussein because he didn't have a criminal record. They found a connection via a relative that did. They worked with the National Crime Agency to undertake familiar work to identify him through that. And in the early hours of Wednesday, the 1st of July, they arrested him in the Outham area. The first thing officers noticed when face to face with the 18-year-old was that he had cuts to his hand.
Mate, you're under arrest. Come out. Come out of your dress. Keep walking towards me. Keep walking towards me. Stay where you are. Stay where you are. Stay where you are. Hands on your head. Stay where you are. Face me.
And they were consistent with what would have been sustained by the suspect. He was taken into police custody and charged the following day, after his DNA was taken and confirmed to have been what was found at the scene. 2 days before the murder on Wednesday the 3rd of June, Hussein had travelled to Asda in the Colindale area, where CCTV showed him buying a knife block that contained 5 knives. He produced a passport to buy this, and he chose to pay on his card as well. And he couldn't fit it in his rucksack that he'd brought along with him and placed it in a carrier bag. Hours later, he returned to the supermarket. This time he was buying power tape that was described as extra strong and resilient. But the police found no evidence that the tape was used in the murders. They believed that he was planning to use that in further murders. Inquiries revealed that at 4:20 on Saturday the 6th of June, for around 12 hours after he left the crime scene, he went to Fryent Park Hospital and he sought treatment for his hand that was believed to have been sustained from a knife attack from when he was fighting with Nicole. He was referred for surgery at the Royal Free Hospital the following day and his wounds were stitched up. And he attended a follow-up appointment as well on the 15th of June. During a search of Hussein's bedroom, they found the motive for the murders. They discovered handwritten notes that was a contract with a demon, and it said that Hussein pledged to perform a murder of 6 women every 6 months. And because of this, he would win the Mega Millions super jackpot. The documents were even signed in his own blood, and he'd even bought 3 lottery tickets that he'd purchased after the murders. On the 4th of June, Hussein had set up a Mega Millions lottery online and made dozens of purchases between the 7th and 16th of June. When Hussein was being booked in by the police, he said that he didn't have any previous mental health issues. And for me, I find it terrifying that it's even possible that he could be this far gone and nobody thought that he needed to be stopped.
I thought this was an interview.
You don't need to be. The questions are asked to everyone that comes into custody.
But you're writing down my just.
Alright, just listen to what.
I thought you were supposed to do an official interview before asking me the actual question.
You will be interviewed later.
Recording the information.
And what this is at the time, it's you just being booked in. Okay.
Any mental health issues? Any mental health issues?
No.
Have you ever tried to harm yourself? How do you feel right now?
I'm really shocked, to be honest. I'm really confused and scared.
Mental health is the most serious issue that you'll probably deal with in your whole life. And to overlook mental health issues in your relatives, you end up putting other people in danger. So if you think that you've got any sort of issues like these, please contact the numbers that I'll leave in the description below. They can help you with mental health referrals to try to get a hold on what's going on, maybe the medication that you need or somebody to talk to. Because we can't sit by, especially after lockdown, with an explosion of mental health episodes and wait for this to happen again. So rest in peace to Bibaa and Nicole, and thank you for your support and thank you for watching. I really appreciate you joining me today. Please don't forget to join us online as well at scarcitystudios.com. Peace.